This episode of the Local Hustlers podcast is brought to you by Desert Financial. More than ever, it's important to stay local, shop local, and eat local. You also help your community by choosing to bank local with Desert Financial Credit Union. Desert Financial offers personal and small business products and services in your neighborhood and gives back to the community by performing random acts of kindness. Partner with a credit union that believes in sharing success with you. Visit desertfinancial.com to open an account today.
You're listening to the Local Hustlers Podcast, East Valley Locals. Get connected with small businesses near you and dive deep into their stories, mindset, and motives. Entrepreneurs everywhere. Get ready to be inspired by business owners, entrepreneurs, and hustlers that you can relate to and learn from. And now, your hosts, Dallin Huso and Ridge Waldberg.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Local Hustlers podcast. This week, we're super excited to be here with Rubben Lolly of First Taekwondo. How's it going?
Taekwondo, yes.
Taekwondo, sorry.
Yes.
How's it going today?
It's going well. Thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to present to your audience.
For sure. No, we're excited to have you. Why don't you take a couple of minutes and give us a quick background on your life? Okay.
Hi, my name is Rubben Lolly. I am a Taekwondo dojang owner. A dojang is the place where you practice Taekwondo. I am a 7th degree black belt. That's considered as a grandmaster. I started Taekwondo at a young age of 8 in Ghana, somewhere in West Africa. I was doing Taekwondo because I guess, according to my mom, I was a truant. I didn't come home after school, so he wanted me somewhere where she knows I would be. Well, I started and I fell in love with it. She couldn't yank me out of it. I've practiced Taekwondo since then. I would say never stopped. Practiced a lot of hours. In Ghana, I practiced through it and became like a member of the national team. I captained the national team, and then went to university. I pursued engineering in university and also coached teams wherever I went. I started a school wherever I went when I growing up in Ghana. Till I moved into the USA. When I came here, Taekwondo is part of me. It's taught me a lot, the art of perseverance, wanting to perfect something that you can never perfect, just keeps you going. It's made me feel like whatever you do, the sky is the limit, so don't stop, never be happy, keep improving. I mean, be happy with your achievement, be proud of it, but at the same time, don't rest, because when you rest, you rust. When I came here, I met good people through Taekwondo, and through it, I was able to, practice civil engineering to the level that I want. So through Taekwondo, built my character, met people, and got the maximum I could out of it. So that's what motivated me to also start teaching, because I think what it builds inside of you, it's great for you to be able to share with other people.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, I think there's a lot to unpack there. Let's go back to Ghana. So is Taekwondo, sorry, I said it wrong at first. Is Taekwondo a pretty big thing over there?
So in Ghana, the biggest sport is soccer, and then everything else is all over the place. Taekwondo is one of the main ones because, Ghana goes to the Olympics, and mostly we do a great job, but Taekwondo has been one of the sports that, shows up doing very well. So yes, it's big. Yeah.
And did you fall in love instantly, or did your parents kind of have to force you to go to it at first?
No, it was instant. I didn't even know that there was a Taekwondo club where I grew up. So, but, once I got there, I just fell in love with it. It was a Korean grandmaster that was there. And, that was my first closest I'd come to an Asian person. And I've been watching movies. So, it's for some reason, it just excited me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Could you talk to us a bit about Taekwondo? And sorry for the ignorance here, but the difference between like Taekwondo and karate, which is another big similar sport. And then you mentioned the rankings, the 7th level black belt, how that works.
Yeah, so Taekwondo is a Korean martial arts, an Asian Korean martial art. Karate is from Japan. Okay. Taekwondo is from Korea. Taekwondo has been, it comes from one place called Kukiwon in Korea, where the headquarters is. In the practice of Taekwondo, you spend about 75% of your time kicking, and then the rest maybe punching and doing other things. Karate is vice versa. In karate, they do sweeps and takedowns. Taekwondo also evolved to become, it's continuously evolving. So, because I mean the owners, or not the owner, the guardians of Taekwondo don't want it to stay in the past. So it's continuously evolving. And then it became an Olympic sport in 2008. So now there's a traditional part of Taekwondo and then the sports part of Taekwondo.
Gotcha.
So that's the main. But the main difference between it and karate, it's origination and then the styles of how, if you see a Taekwondo person do a kick, you might see this quite different from how a karate person executes a kick.
Okay.
But in principle, they are all the same.
Gotcha. And then talk to us about the different rankings and belts that you can get.
Yeah, so in Taekwondo, we have the colored belt system. It's a 9-step system when you start as a white belt, and then you go to a first degree black belt. And then from the first degree black belt, you go to second degree, third degree. Typically from first degree, second degree, third degree, in most schools, they'll be called instructors. And then, the fourth degree to like sixth degree, in the Taekwondo that I practice is a master. And then from the 7th degree and up, is considered a grandmaster.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And then to go from, typically it takes about 4 years to go from a white belt to a black belt, in my school at least. And then from first degree to second degree is 2 years, and then it goes up from there. So from 6th degree to 7th degree is a 7-year wait plus practice. So it's time, dedication, and effort.
Yeah, for sure.
And you are a 7th degree.
Yes, I'm a
black
7th
belt.
degree black belt. Yes.
A grandmaster in our midst. That is fantastic.
Yes.
And how many years until an 8th?
I'm due now. I'm due this year for 8th degree, but I think I have to go do that one in Korea. So I think I'm waiting for the COVID to be over, and we'll see what happens.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yes.
I've always been curious what dictates going up a ranking. Who decides when you go from white to the next level in first degree, second degree, third degree?
So mostly the person, the master is certified. Most masters in the system that I practice certified. So you are certified to promote people. And then so from white belt all the way to black belt, the master of the school would do it. And then for the black belt system, you have to be certified through Korea. There's a Kukyoon headquarters that does the application process. So, and then, they do courses that allows, us to do the testing and then send the results to Korea, and then they can issue certificates. But from 7th degree, 8th degree, you have to go to Korea. Yeah.
Gotcha. So it's pretty serious, strenuous, to get to that. It's not just anyone can tell you you're a 7th belt or whatever. You have to go get it certified from Korea, you say?
Yes, definitely.
Huh, that's super interesting. Cool. Well, thanks for the education there on Taekwondo. So you're growing up doing Taekwondo. At the time, was it something that you wanted to do for the rest of your life, or what were your thoughts on Taekwondo at the time?
So the good thing about my thinking then is that I was doing Taekwondo for fun, because in my mind I always wanted to be an engineer.
Okay.
So, but I just did Taekwondo for fun. But what it did for me was that because I had so much passion for it, I knew I had to finish my homework to go do Taekwondo. I knew I had to do well in my exams to go do Taekwondo. So it helped me push me up, in pursuing my education too.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you wanted to be an engineer, and you went to school for that in Ghana?
Yes.
Okay. And then you became an engineer in Ghana all before you moved over here, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, talk to us about, why you moved over here, what went into that decision, kind of what the process was of such a big change in culture and pace in life.
Well, it's a long story, but, for the purpose of this podcast, I'll make it short.
Okay.
So I was a mining engineer in Ghana. So I was working for an Australian company, having a good time. And then in around 2000, there was this tech crash that affected gold.
Yep.
So at that point in time, I thought my industry was going to crash because there were companies closing down all over the place. Big companies closing down. So I said, I need to find a new career. I guess I panicked for a good reason. So I need to go. And in Ghana, once you through the education system, it's hard to go back through again. So I decided to come here and pursue, something else. And then when I came here, I realized that to be a mining engineer, you have to live somewhere. And I like, to live in the city. So I switched from mining to civil engineering.
Gotcha.
I went to ASU for that.
Okay. So you went to school again once you got here?
Yes.
Did you get your master's degree?
I got my master's degree,
Wonderful.
yes.
And how old were you at the time when you moved over here?
28.
28?
Yes. So I had to restart life, but
Still young, right?
I love where I am, yes.
And were you married at the time when you came over?
No, I didn't. I met my lovely wife over here. She's from here. She's from Texas, but yeah, I met her here in Arizona.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So you came over all alone.
Yes.
Was that scary?
It's scary, it was scary, but I believe I was very adventurous, One thing in Ghana, I went to a boarding school system, so since I was 11, I was never home, so I was used to being gone, so I always embraced adventure, but scared at the same time, yes.
Right.
Cool.
Now you mentioned that you started a school in Ghana, and then you started another school once you moved to the United States.
Yes.
What lessons did you learn from starting that school in Ghana that helped you when you started your school here?
Well, I would say in Ghana, the main lesson I learned is to be brave and start, just pursue whatever you want to do. The lessons I learned in Ghana, in terms of how to apply, is completely different because in Ghana, we did Taekwondo for fun. And also, I learned from the old school way. So, listening to my students talk to me, feedback after they grow up, coming here, I need to modify my approach to teaching a little bit, But I know that once it gave me the confidence that with the knowledge that I have, I could, teach, So that helped me a lot because I have students now that are 6th-degree black belts that I taught from white belts.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
So moving over here, did you have any intentions on opening up a school, or were you here strictly to just do engineering?
My goal was to come here, go to school, and find somewhere to teach, to help, teach in the school. I didn't have the intention of starting my own school.
Yeah.
That was
okay.
Yeah, but, naturally gravitated in that direction. Yes.
Did you find anywhere to teach at another school first when you got here?
Yes. I was teaching at a place called U.S. Taekwondo College. It used to be on Ray and Rural. Run by Grandmaster Pike, who passed away and took over by Grandmaster Song. And I had a lot of good experience over there.
Yeah.
When I was teaching there, I was used to high performance, so I was teaching the competitive team, the advanced team that trained at midnight, so he gave the aspect to me. And that's where I really honed in my tactic, my skill of how to, interact with people that are not from Africa, be able to hone in my communication skills, and what to read from people's body language to be able to give them the right information.
Cool. So it sounds like you enjoyed your time over there. You were in a good position and doing what you love to do.
Oh, yes. I had a fantastic time over there. Always training. I trained so much. I'm wondering why my wife is still with me because I spent a lot of time there training.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Well, with that in mind, with you loving it so much, what made you decide to go off on your own and start your own school?
Yeah, it's a natural evolution. It gets to a point where, just like kids grow and they get to a point they got to leave home, it's the same thing. It got to a point where I believe I needed to do things the way that I originally would like to. Yeah. So, I think 2011... I think 2012 in October, we went to a big tournament in California. We came back and I decided, it's time to, start my own school with the help of a friend who actually the friend instigated me because I was thinking about it a lot. And then, but I wasn't making the move. And the friend told me, you should do your own, we should start something with my friend's help. We started. Yeah.
Love it. Tell us about the process of starting up a school. Like, what goes into that? What sort of research did you have to do? What sort of preparation did you have to do to get ready for opening day? Yeah,
so it's just like any business, right? You have to have a business plan. Yeah. You got to look at the demographics of the people in the area. Look for a good location. At that time there was a Taekwondo school that somebody abandoned, so we had that location. We used that location as a starting place, and then. We just advertise, we go around and it's 2011, we just went to people's home, put flyers in the front of their houses. We're not big into Facebook and social media yet, and then we just put a big old, now open Taekwondo sign over there. Yeah. And then, the location was interesting because we only had a wall green as the main point of attraction. So it wasn't big draw, but I think it was a good start for us, So and so that's what went in, just the basic business plan and figuring out how you're going to get students.
Yeah.
And how did it start? Did you get quite a few right from the beginning from all those flyers, or is it slow rolling?
Yeah, it was slow rolling. The good thing about, I was lucky because there were some very competitive people that could only, train with me. So a few of them just came with me from my old school. Even, I try, the thing is to try and make sure that you break clean with your grandmaster. But there was a few of them that, came to. So they burned my, fueled my fire for a little bit. And then, slowly 2 students here, 3 students here, 4 students here, and then we started building. Once you get to critical mass, it evolves on its own. So, but it took us about, I think, 1.5 to 2 years to get to the point where we were comfortable.
Yeah. I'm curious, you mentioned demographics, so a few questions on that. Were you worried about the demographics in this area, if there would be enough people that were interested? Did you have to do much research into that, or was it just hoping you'd be able to educate people enough and find and interest people, even if they weren't, initially looking for Taekwondo?
So yeah, that's, initially with the business plan, we look at the people, and Taekwondo, we consider it as, people even though I think it's very necessary and basic and important for kids to learn Taekwondo, even for adults to learn Taekwondo or any sort of martial arts, I think in reality, it's like when people have residual income, right? Disposable income, that they would consider doing, this would be secondary to them. So that's one of the main things, the income of the people in the area. And then, how many kids are in the area, the family sizes and all that stuff. So that informs it. Education-wise, I don't know if I focused too much on that because I felt like it was our duty to be able to give the knowledge to anybody we came in contact with. Well, we were more concerned about getting contact with people. Yes. Gotcha.
And then with age, because you mentioned that kids can start at like 3.5 years old, right?
Yes.
So is that the sort of people you're targeting, just younger kids, or can teenagers and adults come in too and get started with Taekwondo?
Everybody can start. I have people that start that are in the 60s, So
really,
yeah. So kids, teenagers, adults, we cover everybody. I think, just like everything else, the earlier you start, the better.
Yeah.
Most of the kids that started with us when they were 3.5 years old, it's ingrained in them. Older kids is okay, but you have to undo something to redo it. But that's the joy of it. Every day I walk into the dojo and somebody walks through the door. I say, well, this is my challenge to turn this person from this to that, or to give them this knowledge. So undoing is not hard, but it's easier if they are kids.
Talk to us about some of the benefits of starting so young, because like you mentioned, just with everything in life and business, the earlier you start, the better off you are, because there's things you're going to have to unlearn. So what are some benefits, with Taekwondo of starting younger, and some things that they have to avoid unlearning?
So I'll talk about the good things. So most of the kids that come to us 3.5 years old are about to start school, right? So they have to learn to sit and pay attention and take instructions. Yeah, that's huge. And when you do Taekwondo, you train in my school. The regular classes are 45 minutes. It's 45 minutes of taking instructions to do something, either physically, visually, listening, examples, so that helps kids when they are going into school, kindergarten, to follow instructions. We've had kids come in that the parents say, I hope you can do something. And, the end result is always great, When I talk about undoing, for example, there are kids that come into the school that are a little older, and you say, when I talk to you, you got to respond, yes, sir. And they look at you like, I say, yeah, you got to say, yes, sir. That's how we respond over here, Simple things, that people are not used to.
Right.
Yeah, I said, you got to, do something, you got to say, kiap. Yes, you got to say kiap. This is the only space that you can come and yell your heart out, So those things with the little kids, it's easier, with the older ones, it's fun, but it's not, you have to undo the thinking. in terms of pure martial arts, if there are kids that can come in there and maybe Taekwondo is the fifth sport that they've tried.
Yeah.
So they are just passing through. And really the longevity of martial art is what brings its true benefits. So they do it a little bit and they move to the next thing. Mostly it's a certain age some kids do that. When they are young, they hardly stop. So the earlier the better. Yeah.
Cool. This is a question for now as well as when you got started. Is there a lot of competition in the area? A lot of other martial arts and Taekwondo schools, or are they pretty hard to come by?
In our area, there is a lot of martial arts schools.
Okay.
And I consider that as a good thing because, we are in the business of, I would say selling martial art or introducing the public to martial art.
Yeah.
So the more they know, it's like a domino effect, So, because at the end of the day, people will come to... I have produced a lot of like national champions in the Valley, but most of the people that come to me don't come to me because of that, right? So it's a convenience, mostly convenience. And so if there's a school here and there's a school there, somebody will go over there because they are closer to it.
Right.
But, so yeah, there is a lot of competition in the Valley and I enjoy it. I enjoy the competition because it also helps me not rest.
No, that's good. That's good. I've got a couple questions. You mentioned that you have a leadership program for your young students. Talk to us about how you incorporate that leadership development into your practice.
Okay, so we have a class that's called a leadership club. So in that class, we go through... We don't just do kicking and punching. We set that aside for other classes. So we talk about, communication, how you communicate with people, giving back. What do you consider as giving back? Confidence. What do you understand by confidence? Your body language. How do you look at a kid and think like, oh, this kid needs this help or that help, or this kid doesn't like what you're doing. We talk about, all the things that goes to build a leader, like listening skills, being able to have empathy on the kid. So when you're teaching the kid and they don't understand, do you say, oh, this kid is not good? Or you say, oh, well, how can I really get to this kid? And, try and get to them from where they are coming, We teach this we sit and we talk about it and then we make them role play, If a kid is being bullied, we talk through bullying. How do you help a kid overcome bullying? What are some of the words you use, and all that stuff. So it's a really comprehensive class that we talk about, the leadership aspect of being a person. I think, martial art creates leaders by itself, but this leadership class hones it, Also, in that class, because we need them to have confidence, so sometimes we go into teaching about why we do certain things so that when they are teaching it, they can teach it with confidence, So that's how we run that program. And, and sometimes once a while we make them learn skills that are unique so that they can, present it to the regular class for the kids to be, impressed and be as a role model for the kids. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And is this leadership class something you personally developed?
Most martial arts school would have a leadership club, but the model that I developed, yes, I personally developed. Me and my brother, he's called Aaron. He's also a master in my school, and Dr. Mara, she's also a master in my school. Together, we team to develop this program. Yes,
that's wonderful.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Cool. So yeah, super curious about this leadership program. Would you say it's something that most of the students opt in for, or is it just a select few that do the leadership program on top of Taekwondo?
So once you get to a black belt or you're ready for a black belt, we would invite you. We don't try to exclude people.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because we think the value is there. So and really for me, when somebody enters the Taekwondo school, the goal is to give them everything so that they can go be who they can be with what I give them. So we invite people to come in, and we don't push. It's not a required curriculum, but and what's happened is that we actually instituted a detail of it not long ago. But when people see what it's about, people are inquiring more and they want to be part of it. But we let people in certain period of time, so there's a period where you come in and then you go out. Yeah.
Cool. So you do have to be a black belt though in order to be a part of the leadership program then?
We invite people in at a belt we call a high red belt.
Gotcha.
So just before they become black belt.
Okay.
Yeah, and then when they become a black belt, you see the timeline is so long that they can join at any time. When they become a black belt. Yes.
Awesome. For our business owners that are listening, can you share some of the leadership principles? Because leadership is such an important thing in business as well, whether you have employees or just people you're managing and relationships that you're working with. What are some principles you could share to us that business owners could apply to their lives?
Well, I'm sure most of the business owners out there are really maybe better than me, but from what a little thing that I do, really I try to create, an atmosphere that, people want to come to.
Yeah.
So if somebody has to say, I got to go there, it's not good. And I always try to put myself in their shoes to figure out how to undo anything that might push in that direction. For example, if somebody's late to class, you say, why are you late? You don't know why they are late. Most people want to be there on time. If they come, you say, is everything okay? Okay. Or, join the class. And then later you talk about, being late and what could have caused it and how I can help alleviate that. How you talk to people, communication skill, when these little things like when somebody sends you a text message and say, oh, I cannot come, you respond, say, oh, okay, it's okay, stay home instead of trying to get on them. Also, making people understand what their responsibilities are. That's the main thing, so you're there to serve a purpose. If you're a student, you're there to train, come there and train. When a kid wants to play around, say, no, we want to train, we're out of time, we need to stay with the time. As a leader, you need to come there and teach, impact what we teach you, responsibility. Empathy is a big thing for us, because if you don't have empathy, people will close their ears to what you're saying. So, listening to people and looking at them in the eyes and making sure that you're hearing what they're saying so that you can talk back to them. Yeah. So those are some of the things that we have in there that we try to, I want to say impart on our students.
Cool.
Yeah.
You've illustrated powerfully, Rubben, what I would refer to as the dichotomy of leadership, that there's two sides to every principle. And you mentioned at the very beginning that perfectionism is a part of Taekwondo and its culture, right?
Yes.
And perfectionism is something that's impossible to achieve. It's, you'd be the first human being,
Yes.
to do that. And yet to have compassion and to have empathy and understanding and those soft skills is part of that dichotomy of leadership. To have the discipline, to require exactness and honor and timeliness, etc. Yet to have the compassion to understand that sometimes things happen in life, and I'm going to be a soft place for this person to land. They might be having a day where I can be someone where I can hear them and help them get through whatever they're going through. So it's a powerful leadership principle that you've articulated. Just wanted to point that out and
Thank
honor
you
for that.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Well, with that, how do you balance, because Taekwondo, I'm sure there's a lot of discipline involved. How do you balance that discipline with the love and compassion and empathy as well? Where do you find that fine line?
So when we're teaching somebody, right, the goal is to make them understand what you're trying to teach them. And to balance it, I try to look for opportunity to celebrate success. So when I see somebody and they need something A is the discipline. And when they get it, I am happy. And I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
You understand? And then you carry it from A to B. And then the same thing, and then it's a system, right? If you see somebody as, a template that you can just only improve, right? And the discipline is what you're giving them, right? You're trying to make them understand that discipline is important. Not like I have to discipline them for them to, figure out that this is how it works, right? So that's how I try to balance it, because some people have physical abilities.
Right.
You tell them to do this, they can do it, and then some other people, they have different challenges, People have even disabilities and everything, and they want to be a black belt. You say, no, you can't become a black belt. You measure people differently. So you have to understand where they are and celebrate their successes. When we do testing, somebody has to, for example, you get to a certain belt, you have to jump and break a board. This person is athletic, gifted, right? This person may have a disability, they can't jump. So what do you celebrate? This person might persevere less, right? But they break it. Good job. Nice kick. This person must have to persevere. You celebrate their perseverance, right? So it's different aspects of finding out what to celebrate about a person.
Cool.
And not understanding that, not taking it that when somebody makes a mistake, that's the end of them. It's an opportunity to get them to improve.
Love it. So there's not a one size fits all, is what you're saying. You have to take each person differently, see what their strengths and weaknesses are, and work with them individually.
Yes. I mean, for example, somebody is physically gifted because they understand they're not good at listening because they get it, right?
Yeah.
So you have to challenge them differently, right? You have to put nuances in there that will make them pay attention, right? So because if I say kick the ceiling fan and you can just jump and kick it, well, I may say just kick it with your pinky toe, something different. And then this person I say you jump the highest as you can. So it's a different aspect to different people. Yes, cool. Because you can't say because somebody is physically talented, you can just make them have an easy path. If there's no challenge, then what's the reward?
Love it. Well, it sounds like you really have honed into your relationship skills and developing those over the years. Do you have employees as well that work for the school?
I have. Like I said, my brother works for me.
Yeah.
So he's an employee of the studio. Dr. Mara helps me. She does it as part-time. And then I have instructors that work over there also. Yeah.
Okay, so they're their own instructors, but they teach at your school?
They came from my system, and then I made them, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I have volunteer instructors that want to teach. And to me, teaching in the Taekwondo school builds leadership for that person. So it's an opportunity that I give to all my black belts. And I have, like for example, we have like the black belt club leader, and we have the leadership club leader, and we try to put people in places where they can learn all these leadership skills.
Do you spend more time cleaning your pool than you spend swimming in it? Then call Flamingo Pools today. Flamingo Pools is your go-to swimming pool maintenance and repair company in the East Valley. Whether it's weekly maintenance, repairs, green to cleans, or one-time cleanings, Flamingo Pools will take care of you. Honest, reliable, and innovative. Just a few of the many good things Flamingo Pools customers have to say about them. Ask them about their mineral treatment, which will keep your chemical levels down, allowing you to have a healthier bathing experience. At Flamingo Pools, they know that your pool was made to be enjoyed, so let them handle the rest. Check them out at azflamingopools.com or give them a call at 480-422-6013. Mention this podcast and you'll get your first month of maintenance completely free. That's azflamingopools.com and 480-422-6013.
Has that always been your plan to be able to continue to include these students as they grow up and give them the opportunities to come back and develop more leadership skills and teach? Or originally were you planning on this, just being you, a small school, and just teaching a couple students at a time?
So when I started my school, my goal was to build, Olympians, because I like high level competitive training, but then you're only impacting a small section of the people, right? So just just like I said, continuous improvements, because what happens is that if you just want to build athletes, if you get 10 students, and also it goes to the business aspect of it. Yeah. If you get 10 students, you might have, by a few months, you only have one left. Because they are, how many people become Olympians, right? Right. So then I had to massage the plan and make it all inclusive. That's why, all these leadership aspects, say leadership Olympian, right? Is that it? Yeah. Somebody learns to. So you have to redefine the word Olympian. It's not only physical; it's every aspect of it. So just building good human beings. That evolved. Initially, it was like let's train 10 times a day, and train till we become machines. But I still have that. But that's a small segment of my school, and then now it's general. It goes everybody, should be able to succeed in my space.
Cool. Yeah, I was going to ask where you went to find and look for good teachers and instructors, but it sounds like they come straight from your students,
yes,
right?
Yes, from
That's
my
cool.
system. Yes,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
What's the plan with that moving forward? Are you happy with where you guys are at, or are you wanting to continue to grow? I don't know if it's common for Taekwondo schools to open up another location if you continue to grow. Is that something you're interested in, or do you like keeping it where it is now?
It's a natural evolution, right? Right now, like I said, if you always say you're happy, then you're already one step behind. I always want to improve. In terms, I don't think I have the full capacity of my current space yet. So the goal is, and COVID has affected us also. So, I thank God that we are still alive and being able to stay in business.
For sure.
So right now the plan is to maximize the capacity at the school. And if I get students get to the point where they become masters and they want to start their own school, yes, why not? It's growth. That's part of the natural process. So, yeah, I'll let it evolve. But right now, the plan is to produce, the best human beings, I would say, in the school that I have, and then maximize my capacity.
Cool.
Yeah. I love that. A couple things. So at the very beginning, you said a phrase that caught my ear. Don't rest. If you rest, you rust.
Yeah.
That was good. I love that mentality that you have incorporated throughout your life, where you just on this continuous improvement, living a life in crescendo, having your business be in crescendo, and this continuous improvement and growth, evolving, looking for ways to improve that process. You mentioned that if one of your students wanted to open up a school, that you'd be fine with that.
Yes.
Is that your personal philosophy, or is that the Taekwondo philosophy, that the role of the grandmaster is if a master wants to become a grandmaster and start their own school? And if I've misspoken any of that, feel free to correct me. But if one of your students wants to open a new school, is it the role of the grandmaster to mentor them through that process, or does somebody else do that, or is it a personal decision? How does that work?
So if I look at the entire Taekwondo system, that's how I think it's set up for the the senior to help. Right. How people apply personally varies. It varies. So I think for me naturally that's how I feel. I don't believe in holding people back, because if I don't want them to expand, then it means I have to hold them back, and that creates animosity. You have to think long term. Always, because naturally people are gonna evolve. People are gonna grow. You either be part of their journey or be the one that they cut out. So when somebody wants to do that, you have to have open mind and be able to do it. I haven't in my school that I have now, I haven't experienced that. I don't know what that feeling is, but I believe that no matter what that feeling is, it's better to be part of something that's budding and evolving than to try and cut it out, because you can't suppress somebody forever, right? So that's just my thought. Yeah, but in the Taekwondo system, I think it's set up that way. They have master scores, they have examiner scores in the Taekwondo that I do, that they try to encourage people to become masters. I encourage my students who will get to that level to go to those courses and be better. Some people might not do it, but from the people that I know in the valley here, they are all good people, and I think they promote that aspect of it. Yes.
Well, that's great. That's great.
I also wanted to point out that phrase you said earlier, when you rest, you rust. I think that's really cool. Has that been like a drive that you've always had? Were you born with that, or do you feel like you were raised a certain way to always be going and never settle, or how have you kind of evolved into that sort of person? I really don't want to say anything that means something else to different people. Mm-hmm. But I think it's a combination of, how I was raised and who I am inherently, and because I gravitate towards that
I would say that mentality was, it's something, I don't even remember the first time I said that. I think my competitive team, typically when they're about to take a break, let's say take a Christmas break, and I just said, don't rest. If you rest, you rest. Never say die until the bones are rotten. The bones never. It's kind of little sayings,
Yeah.
But I think it's the thought process that brought that out, and then it's a combination. It's a combination. I would say it's a combination of how I was raised and also the environment in which I grew. If you grew up in a very competitive environment, you can't rest really.
Yeah.
You can't rest. And that's why I always say competition is good.
Cool. What's your advice for someone who maybe wasn't raised that way? Someone who is trying to work on their drive and that competitive edge, and whether it's in life and business, what would you say to them to help that drive of theirs?
It's always good. And I don't know if people ask themselves that question to say, who am I, where I am, where am I going? Where am I going? If you can ask yourself those questions, and am I there yet? If I am there, if you're there, you have to ask what's next. You have to find something. First of all, you have to have that purpose. You have to find something that drives you. For example, if somebody asks you, I remember sometimes one day I asked somebody, where do you want to be in 5 years? And they were surprised. I don't know. So start thinking that way, because 5 years is going to come whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And you have to be ready for it, So set little goals and see if you can achieve realistic goals, and, try and work towards something. And then once you get to it, you have to set a new goal.
Yeah.
And generally that would help you, develop that mentality.
Yeah. Awesome. Do you have any examples that come to mind through your 9 years being in business, you said?
Yes.
Of how that drive and how that mindset has helped elevate the business?
Yes. Actually, I would say that because my first location was on Guadalupe and McQueen. Okay. We started business in 2011. The economy wasn't good then.
That was a brave move.
Yeah. So, and then we had a Walgreens, right?
Yeah.
And the Walgreens closed. That made us have to market better.
Yeah.
And we had a few students here or there. So, when the Walgreens closed, I think there was an issue with our landlord that we approached him and said, hey, Walgreens closed. So we are hardly making any money because we were going down. And then he gave us a break. For a while. But I didn't stay because I said, I'm not here for breaks, right? I need to be able to bring people in, train them, and also make some money. So it was even at the time that he gave us a break, that's when I decided to move to a new location. I didn't write that. So you moved to a new location. And then also, like I said, initially I wanted to just train people who wanted to compete at a high level.
Yeah.
So I sit back because, I really enjoyed training people who wanted to train hard, So, but I had to reset my mind and say, what is the outcome of this approach, And then I have to learn to enjoy people who do not necessarily need to go up, There are certain kids that cannot even look to the left, right? So if I can get a kid to look to the left, who couldn't look to the left, for some reason now I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like continuously looking at where I am, the impact on my business, the impact on how many people I can, impact, and then adjusting accordingly.
That's super cool. And that reminds me, you talked earlier about COVID and how that's been kind of a bump in the road for you guys. Can you talk to us about the experience, what COVID did to you guys, and how you guys have been able to pivot and continue to grow?
Yes, COVID. I can't wait for next year to come. But COVID, this year, like I'm sure with every business, this year was setting up to be one of the, good years in terms of business and everything. When COVID happened, just like every other business, we were confused. We didn't know what to do, but we didn't waste time. Immediately, we have a little network of masters, say Zoom, which one? Everybody's figuring out what to do. We just jumped onto the Zoom thing right away. And then we did online classes. We lost a few students. We tried to keep students, and naturally you will lose students. We lost a few students. But we gained some. I'm surprised. We have people that we gained through this COVID season. And, as things opened up, we cut our studio into little zones. So normally our studio can take about 35 people, but now we cut it to 12 people.
Yeah.
And if there's family, the family can train as a unit.
Gotcha.
You're wearing mask. Initially, people say wearing mask will choke you or will make you suffocate. And I almost bought into that. But I remember that when we are going for national team trials in Colorado Springs, I make my athletes wear a mask so they can get conditioning.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's, no, I don't think that's true. And I wear the mask in training, and it's tough to breathe in.
Yeah.
But I know it won't kill you. So, we make the people wear masks. Some people absolutely not. And it's a huge balance business-wise, because some will come and say, if you want me to wear mask, then I have to cancel my membership until after COVID, And some people say, you have to wear mask.
Right.
So it's just that's a fine balance that we balance all every day.
The
in
business
school.
owner, you're like
Yeah.
stuck in this
I'm
tug
stuck
of
in
war
it, yes.
between
Yeah.
two polar opposites.
Yeah.
Mask versus no mask.
Mask versus no mask, yes. So, and we
You
try
just want to love everybody.
I know. So some are online, some come in with mask, some come in without mask, and we're trying to balance all that.
Yeah. So, gosh, I can't imagine how tricky that is to balance the two.
It's tough, but I always say it's fun.
Oh, I love your positive mindset about it, and like you said, hopefully next year we'll be better for all of us in terms of business.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. You also talked about geographical location, how that plays a big part in what school people will go to. If you were trying to convince someone to come to your school, though, what would you tell them? Is there something that you feel like makes you guys stand out, makes you different than other Taekwondo schools?
Yeah. Well, I would say our school is a unique place because I said we have a doctor that is a master over there, and I'm an engineer. So we have role models outside of just Taekwondo master. I think the experience that I bring, I have a lot of experience. We have a lot of experienced people teaching. I have competed a lot. I understand martial art or Taekwondo, from the competitor to the master.
Yeah.
I think we try to create a very, very positive environment. The energy in our school is very, very good. You wouldn't feel like you're a stranger, and if we need to we try to accommodate things so that you can be comfortable training, and our instructors are fantastic, and also in our system, in some schools or some places would just teach you and would not, because when a kid starts Taekwondo, you don't know where they're going to end up, right? Somebody starts and says, oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. Oh, I want to compete, right? I think in the Valley, there's only a few schools, that will give you the opportunity. So you go and you can get stuck. So we give you the opportunity just to train martial art.
Yeah.
All the way to I want to do it as a sport, so there's no limitation to how much you can grow in our school.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
I got a follow-up question.
Yeah.
You mentioned that in your school you have an engineer yourself, you have a doctor, etc. Is that how most Taekwondo schools are? That you have somebody who's a professional who's also passionate about Taekwondo, and they have their school as a side business, if you will?
Yeah.
Is that how most of them are?
No, that's not common.
Okay, so
that's not common.
That
at
is
all.
then a unique thing for you.
That's
in
unique.
your school.
Yes, that's
And
unique.
is your plan to continue practicing engineering and doing Taekwondo at the same time, or is the goal to eventually grow the Taekwondo business to completely replace that income and not have to practice engineering anymore?
So I work for the city of Phoenix as a civil engineer, right? So, and I've been there for 16 years. I think I'm close to where I can just say I want to retire over there and then continue with Taekwondo. Taekwondo is something that I would never stop doing. And, for now, I have great masters. Dr. Mara is a 5th degree black belt. My brother is a 5th degree black belt. I have enough room so that I don't have to occupy that space. We have to share the produce that we get out of there. in a way that, encourages everybody to be there. Even though we do Taekwondo, people consider it part-time. We offer services just like the full-time schools.
Yeah.
So there's no rush, and I think I would like to see where my engineering career takes me, and then once I'm done, Taekwondo will be the end of it all.
Cool. Talk to us about the balance of having a full-time job working for the city and running this school as well. Is that hard to balance that on top of having a family? Or have you found out a way to organize everything so you have time for everything you need to do?
It's not easy to balance. That's why most people don't do it. But you have to have the purpose. I think. By the way, when I started my school in 2011, I was doing my master's program at the same time. So that one fell off, and I got more time. But it requires that you are very organized. You have to decide what is important. Yeah. And then just arrange it such that it works. Also, like I said, I'm very lucky to have my wife who understands all that this is about, and supports me in what I do. Yeah. So I remember I would go to work in the morning, go to classes at ASU, and then go teach my school, then go back to the lab.
Wow.
Do the lab work, then come home, and then just cycling. It's single-minded dedication to get something accomplished. That's what it takes.
Do you feel like your love and your passion for Taekwondo helps you to keep going and not just burn out, essentially, since you're always going and doing something?
Yes. It's my it's my escape.
Yeah.
It's my escape. It's the only thing that Taekwondo is the only thing that when I'm in there and I'm doing, it's all about the person in front of me, right? So. And then to see little improvements in people, that I enjoy seeing that. So it's my escape.
Cool. So it's an escape. You said it's less of a stress and a burden, and more of a less of a side. Well, it is a side hustle, but it's not like this extra work that you're having to do on top of your job. It's more of like it's a passion, it's a hobby you're doing.
Yes.
That you've figured out how to turn into a side hustle and make money from it.
Oh yes, because I don't know if it did not bring if I didn't make money from, if I had to borrow money to pay my bills, that would have been a good thing,
Yeah.
So it's just balancing. And the thing is that some people say build it and they'll come, but you have to build it right and people will come.
Right.
So I try to make it where people don't run away from the school.
They forget to mention that piece of advice. Do you feel like you have a passion for engineering as well, or do you just generally like it? Is it something that you're sick of at this point, or how do you feel about your day job?
Oh no, I love engineering. The aspect of engineering I do, it's civil engineering. Civil society depends on civil engineering, building roads and stuff. I just enjoy it. I love engineering. That's why I said when I was young, I did taekwondos. I studied so that I could do taekwondo. So they were both feeding each other, and I think up to now it's still the same. Because when I'm working, I need to finish and get everything done so that I can go to taekwondo and go teach. Right. So it just it's a cycle.
Okay,
that keeps going.
Cool.
So
awesome.
You haven't mentioned it, but you're a national champion.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, no big deal.
Yeah.
And you're also national champion in Ghana.
Yes.
How many people in the world can be national champions in 2 different countries? That's pretty impressive, Rubben.
Thank you.
Pretty impressive. What's that like training for a national championship? Is it pretty intense?
Yeah, it's intense. It requires, hours, man hours. You have to work. In Taekwondo, in competition, we have different aspects. So I did mostly fighting, sparring, and then forms. Forms, very technical, very, very technical. You can just put your hand here, and then just right here is a mistake. So really technical, and how you execute. It's you have judges that's looking all that and analyzing it to make sure that you're doing it right, and then the sparring part, it's exciting, right? So it's 2 different aspects. So you need to put in the work, because every time you compete, you have to assume, if I'm putting in 10 hours, maybe the person I'm going to compete against also putting in 10 hours or more. So, it requires a lot of self-evaluation and continuous improvement, like I always say, to make sure that I've done my best before I go to compete.
That's great.
Yeah.
And when was the last time you were national champion?
This is 2000. That was in Chicago. Chicago in 2009. 2009.
Mm-hmm.
I think 2009. Yes. I competed in Chicago. Oh, it's after that. 2012, I think. 2012 in Chicago. In Ghana, I was a national champion for a long time. And became the captain of the national team.
Wow.
Yeah.
And was there Taekwondo in Olympics back then?
No, Taekwondo became Olympics in 2000, the year I moved.
Oh, no.
So, had there been Olympics for Taekwondo when you were a child growing up, you would have been an Olympian.
Yeah, when I was a child, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that would have driven me to go for it that way. Yes.
Very impressive.
Love it. So you're retired then from doing any sort of competitions like that these days? Do you just stick to teaching, or would you ever get back into that again?
No. I think I might get back into competition. I've been out of it for a long time now, and I think I'm trying to. I have a few. I gotta stretch and make sure that my body is back to where it needs to be, and that's me, my focus. I teach a lot, but also bring my body back to where I can compete again. Mm-hmm. So I think about mainly. I compete to inspire my competitors, not to win, not necessarily to win, right? So right now, because it's no longer about, when it comes to competing, I think it's, if I make it about me, my students will lose, because then I have to really train intense and ignore them. Yeah, so it's mostly about them. But I just I'll compete to inspire them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, that's great. That's actually the true meaning of competition.
Yeah.
I learned this from Pete Carroll, Seahawks football coach. It means to strive together.
Yes.
Competition is not, I'm going to beat you.
Yeah.
Competition is, we're fighting together.
Yeah.
And that's his philosophy on what competition really is. And I hear that in what you're saying as well.
That's awesome. Well, it really sounds like all of the skills you've learned from Taekwondo, the leadership, the discipline, the hard work has really translated to your business life and vice versa as well. And I think just sports in general, there's so many important things you can learn when it comes to life and to business. So maybe say something to our listeners. If you could convince someone to give Taekwondo a try, someone who maybe has never really even considered doing it, why should someone come down to your school and take a Taekwondo lesson? What can it do for them as a person?
Okay, yes, Taekwondo, I think regardless of your age, you could use some confidence, right? More confidence. Yeah. So I think the training of Taekwondo makes you express yourself in such a way that builds confidence. It keeps you in shape, you got to be in shape. It builds you, so you got to be, health from the health point of view. It helps you focus, because if you're training, you're constantly doing something defined that you need to do. It gives that self-confidence and the self-control. When you're frustrated, you come to training, you can yell as much as you can and hit things as hard as you can to get rid of your frustration. It gives you courage. Every month we test, and during the testing, we're going to put something in front of you. You got to break it. It gives you courage to do things, And it's, especially as a family activity, it's really enjoyable. It's really enjoyable. I went to Taekwondo seminar, and one of the grandmasters said, when you die, what happens? Do you get stiff or you get flexible? And he said, you get stiff. Okay. He said, well, if you do Taekwondo, the grave keeps so it's the way they generally, you don't have to be flexible to do Taekwondo.
Yeah, that was my next question.
You will improve. It's like I said, it's improvement. I have adults that come in and they can do this, and now they can do this. So it's just improve. You don't have to be flexible. So this is all the benefits of Taekwondo: modesty, courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, and indomitable spirit.
Say those again.
Modesty, courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, and indomitable spirit.
Beautiful.
Love it. Well, I'm just happy to hear that you don't have to be flexible, because that's one of both of our biggest flaws.
No, you don't have to be flexible. You have to start to be flexible. You don't have to be flexible to start.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully we've convinced a couple of us to come check it out one day.
Yes.
Well, Rubben, we've learned so much from you today. Thank you so much for taking time to come out with us and teach us not only about business but about Taekwondo.
Yes.
Before we close up, we have a quick game that we wanted to play with you. So how this is going to work is we've got a list of 20 questions that we're going to ask you, and you have 60 seconds to see how many of them you can answer. So we'll see how you do.
Oh, gosh.
We'll see if we can bring out that competitive edge.
Oh,
to
man.
see you do against other people. Okay, do you want to start us off in 3, 2, 1?
Your dream vacation.
Indonesia.
First thing you'd buy if you won $1 million.
A big Taekwondo school.
Your favorite hobby.
Taekwondo.
If there was an Olympic competition for everyday activities, what activity would you have a good chance at winning a medal in?
Taekwondo.
A song you've been jamming to lately.
Oh, it's a Bob Marley song, redemption song.
Okay. If you lived to be 100, would you rather have the mind or the body of your prime self?
100. Body.
Your favorite holiday.
Christmas.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Oh, something fudge. It's chocolate. It's a chocolate fudge.
Favorite fictional character.
Oh, the guy from Wakanda.
Favorite smell?
Favorite smell. Vanilla.
What's your nickname?
Gong Gong.
There we go. That's time.
Gong Gong. Where'd you get Gong Gong from?
Gong Gong. I got it from my friends in Ghana, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So Gong Gong is the name of a drum, and I beat the drum for people to come together. Yes.
Nice.
Love it. Okay. As we're closing up, is there anything we missed? Any last tips or piece of advice you'd like to share with our listeners before we let you go?
No, I would like to say thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I enjoyed this forum a lot. I don't have any questions, but martial arts, it's good for kids, adults, teenagers, and for everybody. So if you get an opportunity to try, please do try. My school is located on Elliott and Arizona Avenue. If it's convenient for you, come try, and you would not regret it.
Awesome. Okay.
So somebody can just go online and sign up, or call and sign up, or can they just show up, or how does that work?
Yes, all of the above. You can. We have a website.
Tell us the website.
Yeah, first www.firsttaekwondoaz.com.
Cool.
And we have a Facebook page. You can send us an inbox, and we have First TKD on Instagram, and it's a phone number. You can just call us and just talk to us, and we arrange for your first class. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. We'll love it. Well, yeah, like I said, thanks again for coming on. Definitely learned a lot today, more than I thought I'd ever know about Taekwondo, so appreciate it.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, darling, for having me. It's been a pleasure.
It really has. Okay. Well, thanks again, and we'll catch you all next week.
Wow, this was fun.
Hey guys, thanks so much for listening. Just a few things before we go. First off, if you or someone you know is an entrepreneur in the East Valley, we'd love to have you on the show. Please get in touch with us by emailing us at localhustlerspodcast@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram at localhustlerspodcast. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn for the latest news and updates. Also, if you enjoyed the show, please take a few seconds to rate and review and hit that subscribe button. It lets us know how we're doing and helps us grow so we can reach more locals, entrepreneurs, and help small businesses grow. Thanks, guys.